Hey, welcome to Ask a Pro. Grant Cardone here. I have my friend Curtis Nalley. Nalley, where does that word name come from?
It's actually from Ireland.
Yeah, you look like Irish. Yeah. Irish, I would think so.
It's the red hair.
And the reason I have him here today is because he provides entrepreneurs that are having trouble trying to start a business up with capital. Mm-hmm. So this question is asked to me all the time, man, I got an idea for a business. I got a business I want to start. I got this great business. I'm running out of dough. Grant, I take your advice about how to sell my way out of this, but sometimes, let's face it, you need money. And Curtis basically provides capital for companies, startups, entrepreneurs, people that want to either invest in themselves or their company, right?
Yeah.
And I asked you before the show, like, why wouldn't somebody just go to a bank?
Because at the end of the day, most entrepreneurs, as I'm sure if anybody watching this has gone and tried to get a loan to start a business, you get turned down. Whether or not you have good credit scores or a good business plan, 90% of the time the bank is going to take the risk because they know the risk in starting a new company. So
they won't take the risk.
Yes, they won't take the risk on that client. So then in turn, the client typically will go out there searching on the internet, run into our business or others, and what we do is we take those people, we help them gain capital at 0% for about a year to a year and a half. So that way they can structure that and use that to build, grow, and develop their company.
And so let's go back to the bank thing, because I remember when I went to get my first real estate deal, mm-hmm. I went to two banks. I knew this was a good deal. Mm-hmm. I had perfect credit. I mean, I had as good a credit. Maybe it wasn't perfect, like maybe it was, you were late. I could fix everything, right?
Exactly.
I don't know what a high credit score is, but I had it. And the real estate was great. I went to two companies. They literally laughed, two banks, and they literally laughed at me. They're like, nobody will do this loan for you. The third guy not only wanted to do it for me, said it was a good deal. Like they're like, they almost like they wanted to invest with me. So what was the difference between how the first two looked at it and the third one approved it? But I just also want to tell everybody, like, you get depleted as an entrepreneur on those first two experiences. Most people would make it to the third place, and that's why I'm having you here today, because I think a lot of people give up finding the third place.
100%.
So why did the first two banks, what would be some reasons why they're like, no way, and the third bank's like, yes?
Well, typically because you have to understand the banks. So each individual bank kind of has their own niche of mm-hmm. which they go after. Some, like if you focus on like a credit union in your area, some credit unions are more about getting like traditional mortgages done, while another
like
credit
a home
union,
loan,
yes,
or they do your car loan. They do something where there's collateral.
Exactly right. And there's certain banks out there, which are some of the banks that we target, and that really work with entrepreneurs. But the problem is most entrepreneurs can't go out there and find them, because you can't like type in Google which banks work with entrepreneurs the best. Right. So what we do is we basically underwrite just like we are the bank. And then we take that client's credit profile, make sure that's in the perfect position of exactly where it needs to be. Then I bring it to the right bank, so therefore the client gets the most leverage with that bank. So
do you sell this loan, mm-hmm. or do you hold it on your own?
Well,
so you're basically a broker. You know where to bring it.
Yes, 100%.
So he's doing the work for you that I didn't know about. Like, what did I do? I took my time and my energy and went from one place to the next place. I literally drove and met people. Mm-hmm. Scared to death. I'm 31, 32 years old. I'm terrified. I think my deal is good, but I'm not sure. I think that's what every entrepreneur is going with a startup, right? Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is you're doing that work for me. I wouldn't even know I was turned down at the first two banks.
Exactly.
When you're doing it for me.
Because I will go through and I will vet you essentially for the bank. Uh-huh. And on top of that, I'll even make sure before you even get to the bank that your credit's in the right position. So if you have a bad credit score, like we've gotten like 2 weeks ago, guy came to us 588 credit score in. Just
give me the range of credit scores that are good and bad, so the audience understands.
Okay, 588's pretty bad.
Uh-huh. So it goes
lowest that you can get is 300.
300.
Which I've never even seen anybody with a 300.
I mean, 300, you're like a scumbag. Scumbag. Like, you've never paid anybody.
Yeah, you've never paid anybody.
Or you could maybe never borrowed money.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's not always that I'm a criminal.
It's just that
I never ever borrowed money. Okay. Yeah. And then it could go where? What's the next step?
The highest possible would be 850.
850. Okay.
is as high as FICO goes.
I wonder what mine is, man. Is there a way for me to check mine right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
How would I do that?
Creditchecktotal.com is the best
Pull me
resource.
up. Put Grant Cardone in there. Tell me. So let me say a 300, a 300.
Maybe.
Then what's the next level above the 300?
Then bad credit is 5. Super bad credit, like no one will touch you. 500 and lower. Like,
Okay, so to 500, I have bad credit. Maybe
Yes.
300, I had no credit.
Yep.
So now at 500, I'm not. I think this is important for people to know. You're an entrepreneur out there. Maybe you got some bad credit. It happened in your past. By the way, almost every super successful entrepreneur and business owner will go through some period of time where there's problems, even bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got 300, probably no credit. 500, I've had some credit now, but I didn't do well with it.
Yep.
Maybe late or didn't pay or bankruptcies or what?
Yes.
What describes this?
Well, that's a complicated question because there's, 10 different things that make up a FICO 8 scoring model. But typically someone in the 500s would be someone that has charge-offs, late payments, bad credit history, very little credit history.
Okay.
Which technically, if you're young, you can have no credit score, like you don't exist. In which case, if you do try to pull your credit score, it just says you have no score. That's typically because you're in your 20s.
They're trying to pull me up right now, right, Johnny? Pulling me up and find out what my credit score is. Okay.
Yeah, he'll have to have your social.
And I tell you what, if
else.
Curtis, I can give it to you. Here, I'll give it to you right now. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding on this, man. I'll give you my social, okay? But I got to give it to you. I can't give it to everybody
of
on the
course.
show, okay?
We're not live right
No,
now.
I understand that. I know exactly what we're doing. Hey, I'm here doing it with you, okay? So look, you guys out there right now, I'm going to ask you. This is going to be a great show. I guarantee you this is going to be one of our most viewed shows right here. Okay. You know what? The people next door have all this. Okay, it's a little blow up. Hey,
and they're gonna ask you some stupid security questions about
Yeah,
it.
let Katie pull it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna have the credit score. So guys, guys and gals, if you're an entrepreneur and you want money, by the way, Dave Ramsey says all debt is bad debt until you need it. If you need money to do a deal, look, I'll borrow money at 18% if I have a deal that'll make me 50. Right? So all this stuff that you're told about your mommy and daddy, pay off all your bills, cut up all your credit cards. When you need credit to do a deal, that's called leverage, you need that money. This dude right here, we're going to work through today. Guarantee you, John, this will be one of our most viewed shows ever. All right? So I want to go back to some simple stuff, dude, and then we'll talk about how people can find you, all right? So then I'm going to go 300 to 450, then I'm going to take us to 650. 650 is where you start helping people.
Yes, 630, 650 range.
Can you help show somebody where to go between that 500 and that 650 to repair it, to get me to that 650?
Yes. I can at least refer you to the right place.
Okay,
if you don't have
so
the
they're
best
not wasting
credit in the
time,
world.
not spending money on people that can't help them.
Exactly, because there's a lot, most people are going to look up like Lexington Law Firm, which isn't the best. There's some good companies out there like Radical Credit Repair, the Credit People. Like those are pretty
Let's
good
not
credit
give them to
repair
them right
companies.
now. Let's have them reach out to you.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do it for them? Okay, you say, hey, I'm going to send you to the right people, to the repair companies, because I imagine there's some people out there that rip you off.
Yeah,
And take advantage of people.
100%.
Yeah. So should somebody expect to pay to have their credit repaired?
Yes, 100%.
Is it worth it to pay?
100%.
Why is that?
Because at the end of the day, when you're starting off in a business, most people have no access to capital. And if you have no access to capital, how are you going to spend money on marketing and advertising?
Yeah.
How are you going to buy inventory? How are you essentially going to survive as a business owner? So if your credit's bad, what are you going to do? Other than maybe borrow money at 600% interest through a payday loan, which is...
Can interest go that high?
Yeah.
Really? I thought that was usury.
That's the beautiful thing about payday loans. They get around usury laws because of the states that they're in.
So look, I just finished doing a 4-hour event on money. You have to understand money. To make a business work, you have to understand money. And part of understanding money in business is leverage. Leverage is when you're using debt. This guy, Curtis, gets debt. He provides debt for small entrepreneurs, startups, or maybe even people that are trying to go to the next level, because that is a form of startup.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm trying to move from maybe $100,000 to a multi-million-dollar business. when I'm an 850 score, is it go as high as 850?
Yeah, that's
when
the
I
cap.
go as high as 850 now, the guy that's in between the 650 and the 850, maybe he's got his own business, or maybe he works for somebody who's been making a couple $100,000 a year, $100,000 a year. Now he's leaving that. Talk to me about that guy. Good credit, always paid everybody, starting his own business. He's got a family, he's got a house, he's got all the mortgage stuff that looks good, but still can't get debt.
Yeah. So typically what will happen is that client will come to us, we'll take a look at their credit report, and we'll say, okay, this is your pre-qualification. We'll just make some numbers up for argument's sake. We can get you $50,000 to $60,000. Turnaround time is going to be about 30 days. And I'll show him usually about 4 different loan types. But for most entrepreneurs, what we try to focus on is getting that client introductory rates of 0%. So he can leverage that money for about a 12 to 18 month window with no interest through the banks. So therefore, he can essentially, instead of
making payments on the $60,000, so he's making
2%
no interest.
2% of the principal balance.
So $60,000, he's making $1,200 payments a year.
Yeah,
$100 payments a month.
Yep.
I think
No. It would work out to probably be around $800 to $1,000 a month.
Okay, so for $60,000, I'm paying. Okay, so it's 20% a year.
Yeah.
I'm paying the balance down 20% a year. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So with no interest, which is the best money you can get out there. Now, how are you getting paid on that deal? We get an acquisition fee. Okay. So usually a portion of that $60,000 comes to our company. Yeah. LendingAmericaLLC.com, LendingAmericaLLC.com. When you hit their site, ask a question, or you call there, make sure you say, hey, I'm a friend of Grant Cardone's. I saw Curtis in GC. My older brother's name was Curtis, by the way.
Really?
Oh, dude was freaking so debonair. Guy was like Cary Grant, man. and I'm like, if I could ever talk like my brother Curtis, silver-tongued devil. Did you get my credit score yet? Make sure they're doing it, okay? So look, if you're out there, you're a small business owner, maybe you used to be you had a great sales job, or you were running a business and you're like, I'm gonna go do this on my own, and you don't know how to get some money. You don't want to, maybe you don't want to use your money. Why would I come to you? Let's say I had $200,000 sitting in the bank, but I'm like, I don't want to use that money. I want to go get $200 from Curtis and his friends. Would I do that? Is that a good thing to do?
Yeah, 100%. Because I would rather, if I have $200,000 liquid, I would rather leverage that somewhere where it's going to make me money, and I would then take the leverage from the bank at 0% and leverage it on short-term investments, whether that's bringing inventory into the business or pushing it through advertisements.
Okay, so once I get this money, they're going to ask me what I'm going to use it for, and you're going to do that job for me.
Yes,
you're going
100%.
So you're going to be my pitch man. Dude, I like that, man.
I will.
Francisco's looking like I'm gonna get a loan from this guy.
I will even show you. We show our clients how to talk to the banks, what to say to the banks.
But are you doing that, or are they doing that?
I can't speak to the bank for them. I can do everything except to talk to the bank over the telephone.
Okay, so the bank is gonna want to talk to me at some
Yes.
point. What kind of credit score I got, guys? Okay, who can guess what my credit score is?
Ooh, fire.
Fire. It's never perfect, by the way. I had a guy tell me the other day, we're having this little squabble about $40,000 or something. And he's like, I'm going to turn you over. I'm like, dude, turn me over. You turn me over to whoever you want to, bro. $40,000 when you owe like $500 million. I mean, they're expecting, the banks do have some logic, right? They're like,
yeah, 100%.
Whatever. Right? That's a pretty good score, huh?
Oh, it's great.
That's pretty good. So this is what it says to me. It says, What does this mean? This 74 to 100%?
That has to do with your debt utilization, is what I'm guessing. Again, this isn't a full report, so I don't. It's not even telling you what these numbers are based upon.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's debt utilization rates.
And what's this 300? That's as low as you can go, just like you said.
Yep. Highest is
850. And 8. Yeah. Okay, so if you guys can guess, first person who guesses the exact number, I'm with Curtis. I've never pulled my credit until you got here today. Okay, this guy can get you a no interest loan for not forever,
but short term,
for up to 18 months, 0%. You pay him an acquisition fee to go out and find the best bank to get you money. Look, when you need money, the rate is not the issue. The payments are not the issue. The issue is, I need some money.
Exactly.
Now the question is, what are you going to use that money for? For the first two things, when Curtis comes to you or you come to Curtis, it's going to be like, how much do you need? Two, what are you going to use it for? Because the bank's going to want to know, right?
Exactly.
Is that at that point, do I need a really laid out plan, or can you help me with that?
I will do everything from start to finish. If you don't even have a clue what you're going to use the money on, I will build a plan for you, bring you to the right bank, and make sure that you get the best one.
Could they use it for, let me just throw out some things. Could they use it to buy a watch? Mm-hmm. Why, dude? What? Come on.
It would be terrible. It would be terrible to use it to waste it on a watch, but they could.
Could I use it to lease a car?
Yes, it'd be, again, terrible, but.
Unless I was using the car for business.
Yeah.
And I had no transportation.
True.
Could I use it for a piece of equipment?
Yes.
Much easier than the first two.
Exactly.
Could I use it for, no, I couldn't use it for that. Could I use it to invest in Cardone Capital?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I've gotten tons of clients that were trying to purchase Cardone U or any of that other
Cardone
stuff.
University.
Yeah.
But what about Cardone Capital, my fund?
We could do it.
Yeah.
No one's came to us asking for that service. But
so maybe what you wanted to be part of the fund. You knew you had some money coming at the end of the year. Maybe you got to, I mean, I bet you do a lot of that, right?
Yes.
At tax time?
Tons.
Tell me about that.
So a lot of times business owners will come to us and they have a lot of money tied up.
Inventory. Could be inventory.
Exactly.
It could be, like we have a big accounts receivable here. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. I just want to give them examples. We have a bunch of accounts receivables that people sign for 2 and 3 years. I could actually borrow against those.
Yes, 100%. So if your money is tied up, often cases business owners will come to us and we'll get them the short-term access to capital. So then it gets essentially cash flow for them to push more inventory or buy or invest in.
Maybe I'm waiting on money to come. Maybe I'm waiting. Maybe the IRS is going to give me a refund and I'm waiting on $18,000, but I need it now, dude. If I could use it right now, I don't have to wait another 2 months. I could use it right now because I got an opportunity in front of me. Today I'm doing a real estate show about how to buy a $100,000 piece of property with $12,000 down. But if you don't have the 12 grand, I call Curtis up. Curtis, I need 12,000, dude. Okay, my money's tied up until, if you go to the bank and tell the bank that story, they're gonna laugh you. Now also, if I go there and start filling out credit applications, does that hurt me if I do a bunch of these?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So 10% of your credit score is dictated by what are called inquiries.
The stickers, get the Starbucks out.
Inquiries will go through, and if you have too many of them, if you have over about 5 to 6 inquiries in a 6-month period of time, banks will look at you as someone who's searching too much.
Yeah. Even a couple, right? I mean, like, because this guy's not going to go to the wrong places. The thing he talked about earlier was the niches. Where are the niche banks? The first 2 banks that I went to on my real estate loan, it didn't matter. My credit score could have been 8,550. It wouldn't have mattered. They weren't going to buy. They weren't going to do the deals. I could have had $8 million in the bank with them. They weren't going to do the deals because that's not the deals they did. And Curtis knows who's doing deals for entrepreneurs.
Yep.
And or how to write that up. So the underwriting. You want to talk about underwriting?
Yes.
Alone.
So we will go through and actually underwrite for the bank. So when you come to us, I can actually look at your credit without pulling it so that way you don't get an inquiry and tell you these are the banks that we're going to go to, this is how many we're going to go to, and this is exactly how the process works. So therefore, you don't have to walk into the bank and get a hard inquiry on your credit profile. We can actually do it without pulling your credit.
And you don't have to leave your business right now because look, every time you leave your business, you're leaving the top line of the business. You hire a guy like Curtis. The company, the website's lendingamericallc.com. Is there another way for them to contact you?
Yeah, our telephone number is 801-312-9099. 801-312-9099.
Out of Utah, right? Okay. And by the way, if you've ever, if people wanted to send 10 people to my 10X Growth Conference or the boot camp, could you get them the money to do that?
Yeah, 100%.
So how do they justify that? How do they tell the bank? How do you go to the bank and say, this guy wants to spend $20,000 with Grant Cardone?
So when I go to the bank, I'm not going to layer it that, hey, this guy's going to spend $20,000 with Grant Cardone. I'm going to go to the proper bank. So let's say he's in Florida, right? We'll use ViStar Credit Union. So I'll take him to ViStar and I'll say, Grant needs a line of credit or Joe Smith needs a line of credit for $20,000. And he's going to use this as a business expense for his company, and they're going to go to an event called the GrowthCon. So I'll present that product to them to
Which
make
is
sure.
a business event, entrepreneurial.
Exactly.
He's going to get an education there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And by the way, he's sending his whole team for 20 grand. He would send people to Harvard. It would cost him 60 grand
A person.
for 5 years
Yeah.
per person. So the website is lendingamericallc.com. Okay, look, the guy wants to help entrepreneurs that need dough so that you guys don't feel like when you go to a bank and they say no to you. I remember walking out feeling like I'm a piece of garbage. I had never not paid everybody back. I paid everybody back, and I left there feeling like I'm a piece of garbage. I'm not worth it. My business plan must be terrible. The real estate I was looking at is junk.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the second place. Guess how? They said the same thing. Laughed at me. There's nobody's going to give you this loan. Walked out feeling humiliated. So save yourself the humiliation. Reach out to Curtis, lendingamericallc.com. What other tips do people need to have? Like if I got bad credit scores, just on car credit, consumption credit, like should I be using that kind of credit? Visa, MasterCard for watches and garbage?
No, absolutely not. You shouldn't.
So you're not pro all credit?
No, I'm pro leveraging capital to boost your top line. I'm pro taking the bank's money for a short period of time and basically putting myself ahead by pushing it through marketing and advertising, buying inventory, starting a company, investing into education. I'm pro all of those things.
Yeah. So if you can eat it,
yeah,
watch it. If it gives you a sensation of feeling good, it's probably bad credit.
it's true.
Now, if it's credit that like, hey man, it's going to make my company go faster, get me more places, get in front of more customers, maybe even have you confront fear more. Like if I'll use money to put me in fear, I bought my jet. I bought that jet because I'm like, dude, if I buy that jet, it's sitting out there, I got to go out and use it. I got to get out into the marketplace. I have to reach out. So when debt is used correctly, it should leverage you into more opportunities.
100%.
Any last words, Curtis, that you want to share with the audience?
I mean, the biggest thing.
He's done $1 billion, by the way,
Yeah.
for startups
At 0% too.
at 0% interest.
And I think it's more like probably like 1.6 bill now, but those are pretty old numbers. But
Yeah.
we've helped quite a few entrepreneurs.
Unsecured lines of credit, unsecured term loans, even for your education. So rather than doing a traditional loan to go to college,
Yes.
like what does that debt look like?
I've
Traditional college debt.
usually that debt's going to be secured at anywhere from 6 to 12% interest, and it's going to have a term of usually about 5 to 7 years. Problem with student debt is if you can't default on it. So it's impossible to default. Even if like you claim bankruptcy,
Yeah.
you can't claim bankruptcy on student loans. So unsecured lines of credit.
It's impossible to actually walk away from, to default.
Yes, it's
To
impossible
walk away from the responsibility of
of a student loan.
How do I renegotiate that stuff, though? There's got to be a way those guys will settle on something, right?
No,
They'll never settle?
they will never settle. They leverage Congress for that purpose. So, I mean, someone else can buy out your loan,
Yeah.
but you buy it at a different interest rate. You don't buy it at a lower principal amount. They will not settle with you. They can come after and leverage your wages.
So
They
let's
can
say
do
I went to
anything.
Harvard, and let's say I got $120,000 worth of debt. There's no way. Who has that money? Who do I owe?
Traditional banks. There's, I mean,
like a Wells. What's a traditional bank?
Wells Fargo,
Yeah.
Bank of America, U.S. Bank, Chase
But it's not
Bank.
a local branch. It's not like I can walk into the
Yeah.
local branch and talk to the guy there and say, "Hey, dude,
Nope.
help me out."
It's all done generally through a federal application. So it's a federal student loan. So
And was that money then put in a basket and then sold out as bonds? That's
Yes.
why they can't just write it off.
Yep. And if you try, like, you can't negotiate it down, they will literally leverage. They will garnish your wages if you on student loans. are
John,
the
that's what
only-
they're doing to you, right, John? John didn't finish college and he owes them. My man, John. Okay. All right. Okay. So seriously, folks, the website's lendingamericallc.com. Lendingamericallc.com. Should people be going back and looking at their, like, cleaning up their bad credit, their Visa, MasterCard, their like
100%.
let's say I owe $28,000 right now. Could I go borrow, and I'm paying 18. Could I borrow money from you, pay the 28?
So this is what I do.
Get 18 months of relief.
You would come to me, and I would basically restructure that $28,000 into 0% for a year, 2 year and a half.
Can I do that with the student loan too?
Yes, but typically
Might not.
It's not. Student loans are a long-term play.
Yeah.
If you're sure you can pay it off in a year or less, then absolutely it's a good idea.
Yeah,
if you cannot pay it off in a year or less, I wouldn't suggest you do it.
Okay, folks, there's a lot of things to learn about credit. Okay, you live on this planet, you're probably going to use it. All the big players know how to use it. Every big player I've ever met knows how to use debt. It is part of the formula. It's not taught in school. It's not taught in college. And in fact, most of the advice you get is to leave it alone. Yet all the big players, I talked about this for 4 hours the other day. All the big players use it. You got to learn about it. Curtis will help you. He's not going to help you go get a $100 million loan, but he will help you at those critical pivotal points in your career. I think your sweet spot's what, like 60 grand to?
Yeah, 60 to $80,000.
60 to 80,000. I think you do as high as a couple $1 million in loans.
The highest that like in one loan that we can get done is about 200K.
Oh, 200K.
Yeah,
okay.
Unless we have multiple partners, then we can get millions.
Yeah. So if you need something in that 60 to 80, check him out. Do your research, okay? Grab the data from him. He'll do that for free. Your credit score, okay? If you want to know how to increase that, hit him, okay? His email, you want to give your email out?
Yeah, that's best on email is support@LendingAmericaLLC or underwriting@LendingAmericaLLC.com.
Whoever posted the 825 first is the winner. That's my credit score, okay? Dang, man. I don't know if that's good for anything or not. Is it? It doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. It matters when you need money.
You know, I walked in. I was looking at a Mercedes actually when I moved to Miami, and me and my wife walked in. It was that CL. It just come out.
Oh, that's a good car.
And we went up there to look at an SUV for her, and I wasn't even in the market for myself. And I saw this white a CL on the showroom floor, and I'm like, dude, I want that car right there. I was off my wife's car now and onto mine. And he's like, well, let me run your credit. I'm like, dude, I don't think you need to worry about my credit, okay? I'm gonna either buy it, I'm either stroke you a check today or buy it. I didn't buy it, but I walked out of there because the guy asked me an offensive question. Like, people get like very sensitive when it comes to credit score, right?
No, 100%.
Even the big shots, even guys that have good credit scores are a little worried about, I wonder if I can get this loan. So look, before you go through anything that makes you feel bad, okay, before you waste time going to banks that can't help you, check out Curtis. He'll help you. LendingAmericaLLC.com. LendingAmericaLLC.com. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you coming all the way from Utah. Guy's been on a red eye, man. Made it beard red.
It's true.
If you got questions, post below and we'll make sure Curtis gets them to you, okay?
Fantastic.